Hi, I'm Kathleen Peterson from PowerHouse Consulting. Welcome to Transforming Inbound Member Service Calls to Sales. When we look at why this topic, we need to address this topic because there's been a transformation. We've gone from the old-fashioned days of being back office order takers or back office operators into a more complex business environment where we're providing to our members, we're acting in an advisory capacity. We are promising to become their financial partner, to educate and facilitate the financial achievements and to help our members achieve their goals in this what has become a very complex environment. When we look at today's consumer world, there are many people who have chosen to look to do business with smaller financial institutions because the large financial institutions have suffered some serious brand damaging activities. So how do we prepare? How do we understand what this consumer is? All of our members are consumers of our products and services. These consumers today are going to make larger demands on our organizations. They have greater expectations. They're very well informed. So people are going to ask questions now that they may not have asked even 2 or 3 years ago. It is the consumer or the member who determines the value of the experience. Consumers, members, what makes them members? The fact that we're talking about a membership environment says these people expect to feel listened to be understood, to be serviced, and to be cared for. Loyalty is like gold to a credit union. The loyal customer actually becomes a multi-generational and household commitment. So when we treat our members properly, the force that creates in the market is significant enough to create a multi-generational relationship with that member and that member's family. Competition today is wide, it's varied. Competition is something that has always existed, but the playing field is now very much favoring the credit union environment. So it's our turn. It's our turn to take advantage of what is going on in the marketplace. So I've got to ask you the question, are you really prepared to succeed? Are you prepared to take your member services environment and position it as a strategic asset of the enterprise, which requires that your member service environment becomes a sales savvy location? This comes from a book by Marcus Buckingham called First Break All the Rules. So we have to ask, what are the expectations that our members have? And this was done under customer experience by Gallup. But our customers are, in fact, our members. Gallup interviewed over 1 billion people over a period of 20 years. They took all this data and response that they got and they whittled it down into 4 categories, organized as low-level satisfiers and high-level. In the low-level satisfiers reside accuracy and availability. When we look at low-level, both of these expectations, even if met successfully, can only prevent dissatisfaction. We have earned no points. The score is still 0 because our consumers come to us with an assumption that I'm going to get accurate information and you're going to be available, not on your terms, but on my terms. When we look at accuracy, it means that the systems are up to date, the information is current, information is easy to get to, processes are fluid enough so that we don't have dammed up processes leaving the fulfillment of our members' transactions down the river or up the river. So when we look at accuracy, that's a matter of the front line being educated and knowledgeable, the tools being robust and easy to use, and the systems and processes being functional to the point of yielding accurate and actionable information. Availability says, especially in this day and age, we are now available via the phone, via the website. We may have chat. We have to address email. People want to email. We have to look at mobile interfaces and mobile devices. All of these channels have to be considered because the demands of the consumer are not linear. They're ever expanding. And that availability also includes extended hours of operation. When we look at competing with larger financial institutions and banks, we're looking at many of our competitors being opened for extended hours. So all of these things are going to be considerations that the member or the prospect makes when thinking about doing business with us. Partnership and advice says these are high level. And this may not be easy to do, but if you do it successfully, it is very hard to steal. So what we're saying is now we want to build a relationship. We want to create the experience. We want that partnership so that I can be your trusted advisor. If I have not built a partnership with my member, then my ability to provide advice to them is going to be impaired. So I'm looking at really being able to address both the service needs of the member and the additional needs of the member. And I want to address these needs via the establishment of a good, solid relationship that can be executed by any number of people. So the days of, well, when I talk to Mary, everything is marvelous, so I always have to talk to Mary. That model is no longer, it doesn't work in this marketplace. So we want to make sure that our tools, our strategies, our training, our hiring practices yield people who understand how to build a partnership. Because no matter how smart I am, no matter how brilliant a financial advisor I may fancy myself to be, if I haven't established a partnership, I am unlikely to take advice from you. So it's a sequence. If we are failing on accuracy and availability, if every one of my statements is wrong, if my web interface does not match my own records of my deposits, then you're never going to get to partnership and advice, because your partnership is going to be built on problem solving, which is part of any customer services environment. However, if that's all you do, then dissatisfaction, you're not even a low-level satisfier, so the member or the prospect's not going to allow you to get to the higher level because confidence has been eradicated. So when we look at this, we say, my, doesn't that look simple? Well, I believe it is simple. I don't believe it's that complicated to figure out what it is that people want. What might be complicated is how we do it. So if we take these 4 categories as an exercise, if you take these 4 categories and you list under each category, what does this mean in our organization? What do we have to know and what do we have to do to achieve the results that we want to achieve? Because this will not happen by accident. This makes a very good method to contextualize what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then identify the associated training processes and procedures and technologies that will support that. What do people expect Friendly and attentive service, efficiency and speed, knowledge of the product and service, the ability to give advice with confidence, the ability to help people make choices, not to have so many choices that they can't narrow it down, to understand what each and every one of those choices means. It means I'm very attentive. It means I know how to listen, that I pay attention. It means that the member feels listened to, which means they are going to be trusting my advice. They're engaged in a partnership and now they can trust me. Needs are anticipated. This is the real skill here, is that needs are anticipated because then they can be acted upon. So we've got a situation where the skill of anticipation is one that is of very high value, not only in terms of service, but absolutely in terms of sales. So whether we're solving problems or whether we're opening accounts or whether we are trying to deepen our relationship with a member, the ability to understand and anticipate is a key success factor. Consumers, customers, members, people in general, they want things to be easy. I want it one and done. Don't make me go all over your organization. If you subject your members to the labyrinth of steps in a process because your organization is driven internally. The processes are accommodating an internal requirement as opposed to accommodating the requirements of your membership. We have got to have a vision of the future that says we need to think from a member-centric perspective. There's a lot of fear in this. When I talk to member service environments and I talk about selling, it's almost, you might as well talk about the bubonic plague. And the hope is, I wanted a sales job, I would have gotten a sales job. It's just fear. Fear, I heard somebody once say, is false evidence that appears real. I'm going to try to put some facts in here to sort of dispel this false evidence. When we look at the facts, we have to acknowledge that from a sales perspective, 75% of selling is actually when we're just trying to qualify the prospect. We're just trying to make a judgment as to whether or not we should go after this this target. When someone calls us, they're pre-qualified. They're saying, I am looking for something that you have to offer. The only thing that's left is that 25% of meeting their need, identifying their need and meeting it. The skills for sales and service are nearly the same. If you ask yourself, what are the skills that are required to provide excellent customer service? What is your answer going to be? It's going to be that you need to have rapport, you need to be able to listen effectively, you need to understand your products and services, you need to be able to communicate effectively, ask good questions. The list is very much made up of those kind of elements. If you look at what does it take to sell in a service environment, it takes the same list. Only there are a few additional considerations, and those additional considerations are part of what we're going to talk about here. They include being able to narrow the field of options, recognize, handle the objections, recognize the buying signals, and understand what it means to actually ask for the business. Your contribution to sales adds value to you and to your business unit. For the member service department to become a shining star in the strategic plan, part of that contribution has to be additional offerings to our calling members, people who get in touch with us. This business unit is growing significantly and changing rapidly. So the skills and the techniques and the approach that we take to building our own professional skills within it becomes increasingly important to our personal success as well as to the success of the credit union overall. Everybody already sells. If you're providing service, you're already in sales because you're selling the brand. The brand is that you're our member. We're here to provide a good range of financial products and services, as well as educate you so that you can do more and know more. And we're known. You want to be known for matching needs and preferences to products and services. So keep that in mind, because it's really not just throwing whatever whatever's laying around our desk as an offer to sell. We have to refine our offers to make sure that we understand needs and preferences. Where is this resistance coming from? Well, it comes from, on the human side, just a general negative perception, potentially, around converting my job, a bait and switch. You hired me for service, and now you're telling me I have to sell. Well, you're selling every day anyway. You're selling the brand, you're selling the experience, you're selling the ability to do business with us, you're selling the ability to solve problems, to take care of the needs of your members. There's a huge misconception around the connotation of sales. When we are talking about sales, transforming a member service department to a service and sales, it's not just transforming it to a sales department, it's saying, how can we look at all these contacts that we get and transform those contacts into a richer relationship with our members? And probably one of the more unannounced challenges is the fear of failure. People are just afraid. I don't want to ask. I don't even want to be asked if I don't want anyone to ask me in a store if they can help me. So how could I possibly do that to people? It's an intrusion. They've got all these beliefs running around your head. We've got to convert that set of beliefs into, this is in the best interest of the client or the member, this is the best interest of my credit union, and this is professionally in my own best interest. There was a bank that was launching a cross-sell, upsell initiative, and one of their measurement mechanisms was, how many times did you fail? So they built this fear into their program and said, hey, let's count how many times people fail. And they also knew that selling, in many cases, in large part, is a numbers game. For every 5 no's, you get 1 yes. So if I'm failing 20 times, I very likely am succeeding 4. So it's how we frame it up to demystify this is not anything really different than providing service in so many ways. From a corporate perspective, programs can be at risk because they haven't been very well planned. The training has been poorly executed. The people who are supposed to execute the program don't necessarily understand it, and it seems disconnected from the front line's interpretation of the vision and the brand. So we need leadership to really address the corporate frame that goes around any of this kind of transformation. From sales to service, what is the meaning of sales? It's a natural extension of your credit union's brand, mission, vision, and goals. It's a fundamental appreciation of your products and services. You're proud of what you have to offer. You know how they can help your member or your prospect. You understand how to relate to your members. You're creating an experience that is desirable for your members. When you look at from a personal service and sales perspective, there's so much intrinsic motivation that's going to be required, because I have to want to do this. I have to want to help people. And through that helping, I am very often going to enjoy an opportunity to sell another product or service to my member. But it's through help and advice. It's through knowing what we have to offer that is going to occur. We all are consumers. We're all living in this world of, you want fries with that? You want to add a movie channel to your package today? How about a phone line? Or if you spend some more money, I'll be able to give, these are things that happen at the end of a sale. This is not what a transformation represents. Asking people to add a request to sell something at the end of the call very often yields very little. I'm not going to have too much enthusiasm as a consumer if someone says, you wouldn't want the insurance with that, would you? Of course I wouldn't, because it doesn't sound like you do. So why would I want it? So when we're looking at what we're doing here, we've got to look at opportunities that are unique. They're based on what is that member's need? What is that member's history? Can I get to that history easily on my my desktop? Is my system configured in a way that allows me to reference that person's history? So I can say, well, I see that your son must, is now turning 18. Is college in the future? Is a loan something that might be necessary? Hey, it's January. How about a Christmas club? We've had great success with our members in the past. Hey, I see that you have a very high balance in your savings. We have some options that could yield a higher interest rate, and I think you really might want to hear about them. So, it's based on what are their particular needs and their history. Is there a current marketing campaign or promotion that would make sense for them? What is the availability of this product and service? It's coming soon. It's already here. We've got to really listen for what statements people make to us during an interaction. So they may say, something, maybe they're buying a new car, or maybe they are looking for an easy way to get access to their accounts, and they haven't, they're not signed up for your web banking. So it may be that I noticed that you haven't yet experienced our website. Would you, like me to help you establish your account online? That's proactive outreach in a unique way to the members based on what's important to them. What else might match their need? In order to understand and answer that, I need to make sure that I am maintaining a solid working knowledge of our products and services. What are we offering? What are our interest rates? What's coming down the pike? What's new? What's exciting? Information resources I should be using constantly. Your information for the front line should be an electronic interface, an intranet, as opposed to manuals, which are tedious to update and very often lead to inaccuracy across a member services center. And here's a great exercise. When you're initiating these kinds of programs, really have a brown bag lunch where 5 or 6 people at a time, or 2 or 3, depending on the size of your center and how many people you can take off the phone. Just start asking, what have I learned about our members this week? What's something interesting? What didn't we know last week? How does that relate to, that I may be able to come away from those kind of meetings, which, by the way, if you do them consistently, will yield an encyclopedia of information. When we look in practice, we take that learning that we're experiencing, and then we apply it. We say, well, other members that use this deposit account also use this. Other members that have that checking account also use our protection in their portfolio, or whatever language you're going to use, but you get the picture. What are the alternatives and what are the options available to people? Listen for buying cues. We're going to be given valuable information in the form of an enthusiastic response, an understanding of the value and the benefits, more questions to encourage us to proceed. Once we have been given a cue, it's our job to act on it. So what do those kind of cues sound like? Well, when someone is saying, gee, that sounds good, I'd be interested in that. I think I need a change anyway. What are the current rates? How long does it take for approval? I have some more questions around what your investment options are or your mortgage options might be right now. So if you hear those questions, that should say, there's some interest here. Get out of the way of the sale. Avoid giving members so many options that they are nothing but confused by the end. Well, we have 40 different checking accounts. Let me go through each one for you. No, I understand what their needs are. I understand their profile, and then I whittle it down to maybe the 3 that might make sense for them to evaluate. Stop talking. Give the caller information and then stop. Be succinct. We don't need to keep going on and on and on and on. We want to be succinct and to the point and prove that we are matching their need with our products and services. Ask for the sale. I can set that up for you now. What credit card would you like to use? I can get the application started for you right now. We can schedule a site visit for Tuesday the 26th or Thursday the 28th, which is better. So we're taking action. And this is the part that this is the part that turns it into a sale. This is acting in the interest of the member. The other interesting part about selling is that objections are also a buying signal of sorts. If people have no curiosity about what I'm telling them about, then I know that I have not matched our product or service with their need or want. Objections are a sign of interest. Well, I'm going to put it off. I can't buy it right now. They're going to procrastinate. I've got to talk to my husband or wife. I can't make this kind of decision right now. I've got to clear up a couple of misunderstandings first. So what are you going to say to those? Well, I know how you feel. Or I'm curious what makes you feel that way. Let me show you how, etc., etc. Wouldn't it be helpful if we could do this and get it done right away? In your current situation, and here comes the commitment of the credit unions to educate members. In the current situation that you're in, here's what I would recommend. Partnership and advice. What if I could X, Y, Z? Have I explained it to you fully enough? What are the questions can I answer for you? Because that's going to tell you where they're still experiencing some confusion. In order to capture this opportunity, what do we stress? What are the features of that product or service? Is it suitable for that member's need? Are there any benefits? What are the benefits to the member? Is there value in this? Is there an economy to be gained? And an economy can be gained just by the fact that we're taking some steps out of your financial duties and responsibilities. So if I can say to a prospect or a member, look, I can take on all of your financial accounts. We can bring them all in. I can help you do it. And here's how that's going to benefit you. It will take you less time. You'll have a single statement that will give you information about all of your current investments or deposit accounts or loans or whatever. Where is the benefit? And is this particular product or service a suitable option for this individual? You don't want to offer overdraft protection to somebody and then realize they're not eligible for it because of a credit score or a situation. So being able to check that information on the customer's history and the customer's record makes sense. Then again, I may be able to offer that person some sort of financial strategy by which to get that credit score up higher so that they can, in fact, then qualify for more products and services. As you take a look at this process, we're really talking about we're in a service situation. a member services environment for an institution that has a huge amount of products and services to offer. We want to make sure that our team is aware of what we have to offer and how it benefits our members. We also want to make sure that our leadership understands how we have to be organized from an operational perspective to make sure that we're equipped to take advantage of these opportunities, which I think you'll find today most people are really spending a lot of time and effort to make sure that we position member services in a way that allows the strategic objectives to be funneled directly through that branch. In a lot of credit unions, the member services department is actually a fully functional branch, thanks to all the multiple channels that we have provided to our members for access to products and services. So here's an exercise. This is our second exercise. First exercise, what have we learned about our customers? Then try this exercise. Within your business unit, put some folks together and identify at least 3 of the products or services that you offer. For each one of those products or services, what are our major benefits? What are our major features? So we look at first our features, and we can have, again, the checking account with overdraft protection. That's a feature. What's the benefit? You're obviously going to be protected if you overdraw your account to a certain extent. Now, that feature of overdraft protection, as we just said, it's not a benefit to someone who doesn't qualify for it. So we're trying to look at, what makes this feature or benefit unique and appropriate to that to the prospective person that we're talking to. So if I'm selling cars and I feature air conditioning and I'm selling it in Alaska, that's a feature, but it has very little benefit. If I'm selling a big four-wheel drive to an elderly couple who is retired in Phoenix and only like to play golf and go out to dinner, four-wheel drive's not going to mean much to them, but the air conditioning sure will. So we really need to practice identifying features and identifying benefits, because that's the way, when we listen for the need, having done that practice, we now become more fluid in being able to dialogue and provide that partnership and advice in a representation of products and services. We've got to understand what we do within our organization so that we capture those opportunities. And then the exercise becomes, well, how would we sell those products and services to our members? How would we represent it to them? How would we bring it up? In what circumstance and in what would the appropriate approach be? So as you look at the transformation, this transformation is real, and this transformation is strategic, and the transformation is beneficial to all, but it requires some attention, some practice, and some skill enhancement. And if that activity takes place, then you're going to find the transformation to be very rewarding, both in terms of yourself personally, and in terms of your business unit. I have a couple of articles that I've written on this that are available on our website, and I would like to thank you for joining us today for Transforming Member Services to Sales. Thank you.